Have you ever wondered what Mary has to tell us that has never been revealed? What if there were a divine letter, kept for years, waiting for the right moment to be unveiled? A letter with words that could change the course of our lives and our destiny. It seems like something from beyond, doesn't it? But the truth is that this letter exists, and what it has to reveal is more than surprising. It is an urgent call to all of us. Imagine for a moment that Mary, the mother of us all, wrote a secret message, addressed to a chosen one, with 7 words that hold the key to facing the difficult times ahead. These messages, which have remained secret until now, await the right moment to be shared. And it is precisely about them that we will discuss today. You prepare to discover that which has been hidden, but which now, finally, reaches you to touch your heart. For years, the visionaries of Medjugorje guarded this secret, certain that Mary's words would only be revealed when the time was right. Each message carries not only a warning, but a promise of hope, protection, and spiritual transformation. A letter that speaks directly to the purest hearts, seeking those willing to listen and act in faith. You may be wondering, what could Mary have to tell us that was so important to keep secret? What could these unspoken messages mean for our world, so marked by uncertainty and challenges? Stay with me until the end, because what you discover now may deeply surprise you. Now, imagine the power these hidden words hold. They're not just words, they're revelations, a guide to the future, something that can help us face difficult times and lead us along the path of faith with greater strength and clarity. The mystery of the undelivered letter still lives in our souls, waiting to be unraveled, and with each word, with each message, a new understanding opens before us. So, get ready, because what we're about to explore in this video isn't just a story from the past, but a living message that can change everything. Not just for you, but for the world around you. Be sure to watch until the end, because what comes next could transform your life and your vision for the future. What Mary has to tell us is more than a simple warning. It's a call. And now, this letter no longer remains hidden. Now that you've had a glimpse of what's to come, tell me, what did you feel upon hearing this long-kept letter? What touched your heart most? Maria, with her powerful words, speaks not only to those who have followed her for years, but to all of us who are willing to listen and reflect. And I'm sure that if this topic resonated with you in any way, it can touch others as well. If this content resonated with you, please leave a comment below with your thoughts and experiences. I'd love to hear your thoughts, experiences, or even how these messages from Mary connect with your own spiritual journey. And remember, your comments help spread the message and create a deeper dialogue among us all. Every comment is an opportunity to share our faith and strengthen our community. And if you're enjoying this kind of content, please like the video to show that you want to continue receiving more powerful messages like this. This makes all the difference to the channel and helps reach more people with the same spiritual yearning. And, of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any details of the revelations yet to come. Your support is what makes all this possible. Your participation here isn't just about numbers, it's about growing together and sharing a journey of faith. Together, we can carry these messages forward, helping to reach more hearts. Now, stay with me, because what follows will take you even deeper into this mystery revealed by Mary. Medjugorje is a name that resonates deeply in the spirituality of millions of people around the world. Located in Bosnia and Herzegovina, this small village has become one of the most significant centers for those seeking to understand the divine presence in their lives. What happens there is not only a story of faith, but a mystery that continues to unfold before our eyes. The apparitions of Mary, the mother of Jesus, were witnessed by 6 local young people in 1981, and since then, the village has become a meeting point for pilgrims from all over the world, all seeking a deeper connection with the sacred. These apparitions, which continue to this day with some of the visionaries, are not just simple manifestations. They are considered by many to be divine messages, sent to guide humanity in times of spiritual trials and global change. From the beginning, Mary has shown herself to be a loving mother, offering counsel, warnings, and, above all, hope. But what makes Medjugorje even more intriguing is the role of the visionaries, who not only witnessed the apparitions but also received personal messages from Mary, messages that over the years have become a foundation of transformation for many. Each of the visionaries has a unique story, marked by the transcendent experience of seeing and hearing Mary. They are not only observers, but also messengers of profound spiritual content. The words they received from Mary are not just about the Christian faith, but about a collective spiritual awakening, a call to conversion, and a reflection on humanity's path. The messages of Medjugorje bring an urgent vision of change that invite us to look within ourselves, at our choices, and at the consequences of our actions. The impact of these messages was profound, reverberating across generations and beyond the borders of Christianity. Thousands of people report experiencing miracles, healings, and transformations in their lives after visiting Medjugorje and meditating on Mary's words. They speak of prayer, fasting, inner peace, forgiveness, and, above all, a transformation that goes beyond the physical, reaching the heart and soul. For many, Medjugorje represents more than just a pilgrimage destination. It is a meeting point between the divine and the human, an opportunity to reorient their lives and strengthen their faith. But what few know is that beyond these widely known messages, there are those that have been hidden, those that have not yet been revealed to the world. The 7 messages Mary left for the visionaries are a hidden treasure, a mystery waiting to be shared with those ready to receive them. They are profound words, with even greater transformative power than those that have already reached the public. They are not just warnings, but a spiritual guide to the future, a future that is about to unfold before us. Medjugorje is not just a place of apparitions, but a fertile field where spirituality is cultivated, where the seeds of transformation are planted and, over time, begin to blossom. Mary's messages, transmitted over the years, are not just a reflection of the present, but a prediction of what is to come. They speak to us of a future where humanity must unite, repent, and strengthen itself spiritually to face the challenges the world is about to face. In each of these messages, there is a call to action, an invitation for each of us to actively participate in this spiritual journey. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and talk about what these as yet unrevealed messages really mean, what's behind them, and how can they prepare us for the future. There's a greater plan at play, something that goes far beyond the apparitions and the words already known. It's about understanding the divine purpose, the mission of each of us, and how Mary's messages can be the key to true transformation. Comment below, this makes sense to me. If you feel that this message touches your heart in any way. Mary's messages at Medjugorje are not just mere words. They carry a spiritual weight far beyond what we can comprehend at first glance. For decades, Mary has communicated with visionaries, sharing not only advice and warnings, but also profound revelations about the future of humanity. However, what many don't know is that not all of these messages have been shared with the world. Some of them, the most secret, remain hidden, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. And it is about these messages that we will now discuss. Imagine holding in your hands a key to better understanding the future, a key with the power to illuminate the paths yet to come. These 7 unrevealed messages represent exactly that, a guarded secret, waiting to be unveiled. While many of Mary's words have already touched millions of hearts, these hidden messages promise even more. They are a beacon of hope, a spiritual guide for those seeking to understand what awaits us, and how we can prepare for the challenging times ahead. What we know so far about these unrevealed messages is that they speak directly to inner transformation, to what each of us needs to do to achieve peace and spiritual security, even amidst chaos. They speak not only of the apocalyptic future, but also of the chance for redemption, the importance of turning to faith, and the need for true personal conversion. Each of these messages is a promise of hope, guiding us and giving us strength to face the adversities that lie ahead. The 7 unrevealed messages are a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always light, a light that comes from the divine, from our connection with Mary, and from the power of prayer. Over the years, Mary has warned her children about the need to prepare spiritually. It's not just about what's to come, but about how we can strengthen ourselves internally so we're not caught off guard. These messages invite us to reflect on our lives, change our mindset, and make decisions that direct us toward a path of peace and salvation. And the most interesting thing of all is that, for so long, these words remained secret. They were waiting for the right moment to be shared, like a promise from Mary that, in God's time, the revelations would become clear to those willing to listen. These messages were not sent to create fear, but to generate transformation. They are not vague warnings, but clear invitations to a profound change in our spiritual lives. They call us to be prepared, to be vigilant, and to not give up on faith, regardless of the challenges. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic and explore the meaning of each of these messages. What do they really tell us about our role in transforming the world? How might these revelations impact our daily choices, our beliefs, and even the way we view the future? By understanding these messages, we can better understand the journey that awaits us and, more importantly, prepare for it. These revelations are among the most powerful and spiritually significant that Mary left us. And now you have the opportunity to experience each of them. These are words that have not yet been shared with the vast majority of people, but which you are now about to discover. It is not just a mystery waiting to be solved, but a profound call to action and reflection. These are not passive messages. They demand a response. They ask each of us to engage in the transformation that Mary asks of us, to be instruments of peace, love, and faith in this world. Comment below. I'm on this journey too. If you feel ready to walk with Mary and follow the words she left us. When we consider the messages Mary shared with the visionaries of Medjugorje, we immediately come across one of the most powerful and impactful, the message of hope in the darkness. In times of chaos, fear, and uncertainty, this message emerges as a light at the end of the tunnel. It is not just a promise, but an invitation to look beyond the shadows, to seek a deeper purpose amidst adversity. It reminds us that even when it seems all is lost, there is always a reason to believe, a reason to move forward with faith. Mary, in her wisdom and affection, speaks directly to the human heart. She knows that, on our journey, we often encounter moments of despair, periods when darkness seems to take over our lives, but it is in these moments that she asks us to trust in the light that, though invisible to the physical eye, is always present, illuminating our path. When we are at rock bottom, when fear and insecurity seem to dominate, faith becomes our greatest ally. And this is precisely what Mary teaches us, that, even in the darkest situations, it is possible to find the light of faith, of hope, of trust in the divine plan. She reminds us that we are not alone. Although life's challenges may seem unbearable at times, Mary's presence, as a spiritual mother, envelops us with her love and guides us, even when we cannot physically see her. When the world around us seems to be crumbling, she extends her hand and asks us not to lose hope, for darkness is always temporary. The light, no matter how small, will always find a way to shine. And it is on this light that we must lean to move forward. But what does this message really mean for our daily lives? How can we apply this concept of hope in the darkness to our own journey? The truth is, we all go through moments of crisis. Whether personal challenges, internal struggles, losses, or external difficulties, life will, at some point, test us. However, what Mary conveys to us is that how we respond to these challenges is what defines our true strength. Maintaining faith, even when everything around us tells us to give up, is an act of resilience. A way of affirming that our connection with the divine is stronger than any circumstance. Faith, in this sense, isn't about ignoring problems or pretending they don't exist. It's actually a strength that allows us to face difficulties head-on, knowing that, in the end, everything will pass. This mindset that hope is always within our reach, even in the darkest situations, is what allows us to grow spiritually. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen our trust in God, to connect more deeply with our purpose, and to discover the light that is often already within us. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and explore what it truly means. To maintain faith in times of crisis, how can we, in practice, cultivate this hope when reality seems to challenge us at every turn? The answer, perhaps, lies in how we face adversity, in how we choose to view obstacles. Mary teaches us that, even when life seems to pull us down, true transformation begins with a simple act of faith. And transformation comes not from the absence of difficulties, but from our ability to move forward with courage. Even when the path seems uncertain. Comment. This makes sense to me. If you have ever gone through moments of crisis where faith was your only light, Mary's second message from Medjugorje brings us a topic of extreme relevance for our times: spiritual preparation for the challenges that lie ahead. In a world where uncertainty seems to grow with each passing day, it's natural to ask ourselves how we can prepare for what lies ahead, how we can find the strength to face the adversities that surround us. Mary, in her infinite wisdom, offers us a clear path to preparation, a path that, far from being physical or material, is profoundly spiritual. She reminds us that, although times of crisis are inevitable, true preparation begins within each of us. It's not just about gathering material goods or building physical strength, but about strengthening our soul and spirit. Prayer and penance are the powerful weapons she offers us to face the winds of the storm. Prayer, as a constant dialogue with the divine, helps us keep our minds focused on what truly matters. It brings us closer to God, aligns us with the greater purpose that transcends momentary circumstances, and gives us the serenity necessary to navigate difficulties. It's not an empty or repetitive prayer, but a prayer that comes from the heart, deep and sincere, connecting us with divine strength. Furthermore, Mary emphasizes the importance of penance, a practice that, while it may seem harsh, is actually a path of purification. Penance is not a form of punishment, but a way to rid ourselves of the distractions and material attachments that prevent us from growing spiritually. She invites us to reflect on our actions, to change our mindset, to abandon what no longer serves us, and to return to what truly matters: our connection with the divine and with others. Penance, in this sense, is not something to be feared, but an opportunity for transformation. It prepares us for moments of pain and suffering, making us stronger and more resilient. Because by letting go of something, we become lighter and more centered on our true mission. It's curious, as we often think of preparation as something linked only to the physical, to material resistance, or even to creating safety plans. But Mary teaches us that true preparation begins in our hearts, in the way we connect with God and how we distance ourselves from the ephemeral. She reminds us that our faith and spirituality are the greatest resources we have to face any challenge. When we turn to prayer and penance, our minds and hearts are strengthened. The serenity we seek comes not from without, but from within. When we can maintain inner peace, we are better able to deal with external difficulties, knowing that, above all, we have a greater power at our side. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and truly understand how these spiritual practices can translate into concrete actions in our daily lives. How can daily prayer and penance help us change our mindset, becoming more focused on what truly matters? The spiritual preparation Mary speaks of is not something to be done once and then forgotten, but something that should be a constant in our lives. The Christian life, with its practices of prayer, fasting, meditation, and reflection, is what empowers us to be stronger, more resilient, and better prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. Comment below, I'm on this journey too. If you feel that these spiritual practices are fundamental to your life and to your preparation for the challenges of the future. Mary's third message, conveyed to the visionaries of Medjugorje, touches on a crucial point for our spiritual journey: the importance of communal prayer. In an age where individuality and independence are exalted, Mary reminds us that true strength lies in unity. Prayer, when prayed together, has a transformative power beyond our wildest imagination. Mary speaks not only of isolated prayers, but of a collective force, where each voice, each heart, united in faith, becomes a powerful wave capable of moving spiritual mountains. For Mary, communal prayer is not just a religious practice, but a means of mutual strengthening. When we unite in prayer, we share our intentions, our struggles, our hopes, and fears. We are praying not only for ourselves, but for others, for our families, our communities, and even for the world. This type of prayer, which transcends individual boundaries, creates a network of faith that connects each of us with a greater power, with the divine purpose that Mary, with all her maternal love, wishes to reveal to us. But what exactly makes community prayer so powerful? Mary emphasizes that when we pray together, we form an unbeatable front of unity. In times of crisis or despair, the unity of Christians in prayer can be the foundation that keeps us strong. When we pray alone, we are connecting with God, but when we pray in community, we are living the true essence of the body of Christ. Each prayer, each word spoken in unison, adds up to a force of transformation, healing not only our souls but also those of our brothers and sisters, expanding God's light in the world. Mary, therefore, asks us not to seek prayer merely as an individual practice, but to make it a collective practice. She knows that, in this world of so much conflict and division, true strength lies in uniting hearts and minds for the same cause, the salvation of the world. Community prayer is not only a request for blessings for our lives, but a call to intercede for one another, to be a source of spiritual support in a world often marked by loneliness and selfishness. Each moment of collective prayer becomes an act of resistance against the forces that seek to distance us from God's light. However, communal prayer isn't limited to formal moments in churches or temples. It can happen anywhere two or more people gather in God's name, in a home, in a Bible study group, or even in a simple conversation among friends. What's important is the purpose: to unite, to seek God's will, and strengthen one another in faith. This type of prayer teaches us that we are not alone in our spiritual journey. Unity, collaboration, and sharing are fundamental aspects of Christianity that are often neglected in the individual search for salvation. Mary, with her gentle and wise voice, invites us to rediscover this unity, to pray with our brothers and sisters, and to make prayer a collective practice that spreads throughout the world. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and explore what it means, in practice, to live communal prayer in our daily lives. How can we cultivate this unity among Christians, and, more than that, how can we strengthen faith amidst so much division? The answer lies in our mindset, in our ability to see others as allies in the search for truth, peace, and redemption. When we join forces, our prayer becomes a powerful tool of transformation, not only for ourselves, but for all humanity. Comment below, this makes sense to me. If you also believe in the power of community prayer and feel that it can change the course of our lives. Mary's fourth message, shared with the visionaries of Medjugorje, is one of the most profound and transformative. It calls us to a profound personal conversion, an invitation to an inner transformation that goes beyond simple gestures or words. Mary reminds us that true change in the world begins within each of us. Before we see the world transform, before we desire to see peace prevail, justice flourish, and God's light shine more brightly, we must look within ourselves and make the necessary changes in our hearts and minds. The conversion Mary asks of us is not a simple change in behavior, but a change of mindset, a change of spirit. It's not just about acting differently toward others, but about re-examining our motivations, our feelings, and our deepest thoughts. Mary calls us to abandon old ways of living, which are often based on selfishness, indifference, and attachment to material things, and to turn to what truly matters: love for God and our neighbor. It's a conversion that leads us to rethink our priorities, our way of relating to the world and others, and, most importantly, how we see ourselves before God. She tells us, in her gentle yet powerful words, that we cannot expect change in the world unless we begin with our own transformation. The outside world reflects what we carry within. When we are immersed in ego, fear, anger, or envy. This is reflected in our attitudes and choices, and the world around us also becomes a reflection of these negative energies. But when we make an internal change, a true conversion, it is reflected profoundly and positively in our lives and relationships. Transformation begins in our hearts and expands to the outside world. Mary's call to personal conversion is not something that should be seen as an obligation or a difficult task. On the contrary, it is a precious opportunity to become the best version of ourselves. Each act of conversion is a step toward inner peace, forgiveness, and reconciliation. True conversion allows us to free our souls from unnecessary burdens, resentment, addictions, and everything that prevents us from living in harmony with the divine and with our neighbors. When we convert from the heart, our lives become lighter, more aligned with divine principles, and we begin to see the world through more compassionate and loving eyes. Mary teaches us that conversion is not a one-off event, but a constant journey. Each day, we are invited to review our attitudes, purify our intentions, and strengthen our relationship with God. It is not a quick process, but a daily pursuit of holiness. Every small change we make within ourselves, every decision made in alignment with divine principles, is a step toward not only personal but global transformation. When we become more truthful, more humble, and more generous, we can profoundly impact those around us. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and talk about how this personal conversion can truly transform not only our lives, but also the lives of those around us. How can we experience ongoing conversion in our daily lives? How can the true internal change Mary asks of us impact our mindset, our decisions, and, consequently, the world we live in? Mary reminds us that we cannot expect external miracles without a genuine transformation within ourselves. The world only changes when we begin to transform ourselves first. Comment below. I'm on this journey too, if you also feel that change begins within you, and that true conversion is the first step towards the transformation the world so desperately needs. Mary's fifth message is a sobering and direct warning about the persecution that the faithful will face in the coming times. While those who dedicate themselves to the Christian faith often hope for days of peace and tranquility, Mary calls us to be prepared for what is to come, warning us of the growing resistance that Christ's followers will face. It is not a message of fear, but of preparation. Mary does not leave us in uncertainty, but guides us on how to strengthen our spirit for the challenges that await us. The persecution of the faithful, as Mary reveals to us, will not only be an external threat, but also an internal struggle. In the times to come, we will be challenged not only by physical or political forces, but by a system that will subtly but constantly attempt to undermine our faith. Society will be increasingly inclined to reject Christian values, and those who maintain genuine and steadfast faith will be seen as different, often marginalized, and even persecuted in various ways. Mary, in her maternal wisdom, prepares us for this reality, telling us that by remaining firm in faith, we will be strengthened, and that through prayer and penance, we will be able to resist these difficulties. But how should we prepare spiritually to face these difficult times? Mary does not leave us alone on this journey. She calls us to continuous spiritual reinforcement. In times of persecution and adversity, faith is not something to be accessed only in moments of peace, but something we must cultivate daily. The spiritual preparation she asks of us begins with constant prayer and dedication to goodness. When we become people of deep prayer, our faith becomes unshakable. By strengthening our mind and spirit through the practice of daily prayer, we seek the connection with God that sustains us in moments of fragility. Furthermore, penance, as mentioned in previous messages, is also essential. Mary reminds us that purifying our souls is the way to maintain our strength, even when the winds of persecution blow strongly against us. Spiritual resilience is not something that comes from a momentary effort, but from an ongoing journey of inner transformation. Through penance, we not only turn away from what separates us from God, but also prepare ourselves to be courageous witnesses of our faith, unafraid to face the challenges posed by a world that often does not understand or accept Christian principles. The importance of being spiritually prepared cannot be underestimated. Persecution, whether physical or emotional, will require an inner strength that can only be cultivated through times of fervent prayer and constant reflection. The more we commit ourselves to this daily practice of faith, the better prepared we will be to face difficult times with courage, wisdom, and, above all, trust in divine protection. We are not alone, and Mary, with her maternal love, assures us that even in the face of the greatest difficulties, God will be with us. Resistance will not come from our own strength, but from the strength God gives us, fueled by our faith and our dedication to prayer. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and reflect on how we can apply this teaching to our daily lives. How can we truly strengthen our faith in times of adversity? The key lies in our mindset and how we choose to face difficulties. Persecution is not something we can avoid, but it is something we can face with courage and trust in God. When we prepare ourselves spiritually, we not only become more resilient but also more connected to the mission. Mary entrusted to us. Comment below. This makes sense to me if you also feel that. Despite the persecution and difficulties that will arise, faith is the true key to overcoming any adversity. Mary's sixth message brings with it a divine promise of great consolation for times of crisis, protection for those who remain faithful and prayerful. In a world where uncertainty seems to increase daily, and where difficulties and challenges are ever more present, this message becomes a balm for our souls. Mary reminds us that, despite the adversities we face, those who seek divine protection through faith and prayer will not be alone. There is a supernatural force that accompanies and surrounds us, a protection that transcends human understanding, and is offered to all those who remain steadfast in faith. Mary's promise of protection does not mean that difficulties will cease to exist. She does not promise us that the path will be easy or that crises will disappear. What she assures us is that, even amidst difficulties, there will be an invisible force sustaining us. When we remain faithful to God, when we seek His presence through prayer and penance, we are placing ourselves under the divine protection. This gives us a peace that goes beyond external circumstances, a peace that allows us to face life's storms with serenity and confidence. Divine protection does not exempt us from trials, but empowers us to navigate them with courage and wisdom. It's important to understand that, in today's times, trust in divine protection is more necessary than ever. The world is undergoing rapid and often turbulent transformations. We see the effects of economic, political, and social crises, growing divisions among people, and even spiritual threats that seem to be spreading everywhere. In the midst of all this, we often feel lost, not knowing who or what to trust. But Mary, with her sweet, maternal voice, reminds us that true security is in God. When we turn to Him, when we unite in prayer and seek His guidance, we find protection that goes far beyond what any human measure could offer. This trust in divine protection is also deeply connected to our faith. In times of crisis, it's easy to become discouraged, questioning why we face so many difficulties. But when we fully trust in God's protection, our mindset changes. Instead of focusing on fear, suffering, or uncertainty, we begin to see difficulties as opportunities for spiritual growth. Divine protection doesn't give us a life without problems, but it gives us the tools to face them more effectively, with the certainty that, in every challenge, God is with us, strengthening and guiding us. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and reflect on how we can apply this trust in divine protection to our daily lives. How, in practice, can we maintain our faith amidst the storms that present themselves in our daily lives? The key is to stay connected to God through constant prayer and reflection on His Word. The closer we draw to Him, the more we feel protected and guided, even when external circumstances challenge us. True protection comes from our trust in the divine plan, and it is this trust that keeps us steadfast, no matter what happens around us. Comment below. This makes sense to me if you also believe that, in times of crisis, divine protection is the only true security we can have. The seventh and final message from Mary that we received through Medjugorje is undoubtedly one of the most powerful and hopeful. It speaks of the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary over evil, a profound theme that brings us the certainty that despite difficulties and adversities, the ultimate victory will belong to God. Mary, with her pure and immaculate heart, has always been a symbol of love, compassion, and devotion. But in this message, she assures us that this heart, guided by divine power, will be responsible for the final victory over all the forces of evil that attempt to prevail in this world. What Mary reveals to us here is a reminder that although evil may seem to dominate for a time, it will not have the last word. The triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary is the promise that divine truth, God's love, and the justice of His plan for humanity will eventually be fully and irreversibly manifested. Evil may try to lead us astray, but Mary assures us that, by remaining faithful and placing our trust in the Immaculate Heart, nothing can prevail against the power of divine love. It is a certainty that brings peace and gives us the confidence to face any spiritual battle that lies ahead. But what does this really mean for us? On a personal level, in our daily lives, we face countless forms of evil, whether in the form of suffering, injustice, temptation, or even moments of doubt and despair. Often, evil manifests itself in subtle ways, tempting us to fall into patterns of selfish behavior, anger, or distrust. Mary calls us, in the midst of all these struggles, to trust in the strength of the Immaculate Heart, reminding us that when we remain faithful and steadfast in our faith, we are part of this divine triumph. Mary's heart is not just a distant symbol, but something that surrounds us, guides us, and strengthens us in our own daily battles. The triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary gives us hope. In times of crisis, uncertainty, or even when darkness seems to spread everywhere, we must look to this promise with confidence. Mary's heart, immaculate and pure, is not only a beacon of light in the darkness, but also a divine power that protects us and guides us along our spiritual journey. The ultimate victory over evil does not mean the absence of struggles or difficulties, but the certainty that God's light will prevail, regardless of appearances. Evil, no matter how much it tries to grow and dominate, cannot resist the power of a heart filled with divine love. This message also teaches us the importance of our collaboration with the divine plan. Although God offers us this protection and ultimate victory, we are called to live according to the teachings of Mary and Jesus, to keep our faith firm and to work for peace, justice, and goodness, here and now. The victory of the Immaculate Heart of Mary is not just a future event, but something that begins in our hearts, in our attitudes, and in our daily decisions. By living according to faith, with trust in God, and with love for our neighbor, we become an active part of this great victory that Mary promises us now. I want to delve even deeper into this topic and reflect on how we can bring the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary into our daily lives. How can we live this promise of victory in our daily journey? How can we, by placing our faith in Mary and the divine plan, transform the adversities we face into opportunities for spiritual growth? Mary's triumph is not just a matter of waiting for a distant future, but of joining in this triumph right now, living with courage, faith, and confidence that, in the end, light will prevail over darkness. Comment. I'm on this journey too if you believe that. With the strength of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, we can face any challenge and experience the victory that is promised to us. Now that we've explored the 7 powerful messages Mary left us, we can see how they aren't just distant words or promises for a distant future. They have the power to transform our lives now, in our daily lives, if we allow ourselves to apply their teachings and deeply understand the impact each of them can have on our spiritual journey. Each of these messages brings with it a direct call to our daily lives, inviting us to look more deeply at our actions, decisions, and the way we live our faith. In a modern world full of distractions, challenges, and uncertainties, it's easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle of everyday life and drift away from what truly matters. Mary's messages, however, are a constant reminder that to face the challenges of this world, we need a solid foundation, a strong spirituality to anchor us. They teach us the importance of returning to the essentials, to prayer, faith, personal conversion, community unity, and trust in divine love. These messages are not just about moments of peace, but about how we can deal with difficult times, such as persecution, crisis, and darkness, always with the certainty that God is with us, guiding us. The first message, for example, about finding light in the darkness, is extremely relevant to the modern world. We live in a time where darkness seems to pervade various aspects of society, whether in our personal lives, in the media, in interpersonal relationships, or even in global challenges. However, Mary reminds us that, even in these difficult times, there is always a light, a hope that we can find by turning to faith. How does this apply to everyday life? When we face difficulties, challenges, or even moments of doubt, we can choose to look to this light and seek in God the strength to overcome any darkness. This is what helps us keep hope alive, no matter how great the problem we face. Furthermore, the second message of spiritual preparation for the future teaches us the importance of always being spiritually ready. In a world where everything seems so volatile, where uncertainty is great and changes occur rapidly and constantly, this preparation becomes more important than ever. How can we prepare spiritually for the challenges of tomorrow? By strengthening our faith daily through prayer and fasting, by reflecting on our choices and attitudes, and by dedicating ourselves to spiritual growth, we become more resilient in the face of challenges. Spiritual preparation is not something we do once and then forget, but rather an ongoing commitment to our personal evolution and our connection with the divine. The third message, about the importance of communal prayer, is also extremely significant in the modern context. We live in a society where individualism is often exalted, and deep and true relationships between people can seem increasingly rare. However, Mary reminds us that true strength comes from unity, from praying together, from mutual support and intercession for one another. In a world where so many people feel alone, communal prayer offers an opportunity for reconnection, support, and faith sharing. When we pray together, we are not only praying for our own needs, but also joining in a collective effort to transform the world around us. This unity is also essential when we consider the fourth message, about the need for personal conversion. True transformation in the world begins within us. Personal conversion is not just a superficial change in behavior, but a change of mindset, heart, and intentions. By turning to faith and living more authentically and in alignment with divine principles, we can make an impact not only in our own lives but also in the lives of those around us. The change Mary calls us to make is not easy, but it is necessary, especially when we live in a world full of distractions and values that often conflict with the teachings of Christ. The warning of persecution. The fifth message also challenges us to reflect on how our faith will be tested in difficult times. We live in a world where the pressure to conform to social norms and expectations can be great. True faith, the faith Mary asks us to maintain, often goes against these pressures. However, this faith gives us the courage to endure, to maintain our spiritual integrity even when difficulties arise. Trust in divine protection, which Mary promises us in the sixth message, reminds us that, although persecution may be real, God's strength and power accompany us, and the ultimate victory will belong to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. These messages are more than advice or distant spiritual reflections. They are practical guidance for our daily lives. The spirituality Mary teaches us is something we can live in every moment, in every decision, and in every action. When we face the chaos of the modern world, these messages offer us not only comfort, but a clear plan for navigating it with faith, hope, and courage. They remind us that our spiritual journey is not a solitary one, but a journey shared with all those who seek divine truth. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and reflect on how we can actually apply each of these messages to our daily lives. How can we transform these teachings into concrete actions that will not only benefit us but also help transform the world around us? The answer lies in our mindset, in how we choose to live our faith every day, and in how we choose to be light. In a world that often seems to be in darkness, comment below. This makes sense to me if you also believe that. By applying these messages from Mary in our daily lives, we can transform our lives and the world around us. Now that you know Mary's 7 unrevealed messages, it's time to reflect on the profound impact they can have on your life. How can these words transform your spiritual journey? How can you live them in your heart, not just as a concept, but as a daily practice that shapes your choices, your mindset, and, most importantly, your relationship with the divine? These messages are not just words that resonate in our minds and hearts, they are a true call to action. Mary, with her infinite wisdom, guides us along a path of faith, hope, and transformation. But for this to happen, we need to incorporate each of these lessons into our daily lives. Transformation begins within each of us, and by applying these messages, we begin to live in harmony with the divine purpose entrusted to us. Mary's words are not merely reflections on what could be, but practical instructions on how to live. What should be? They challenge us to be light in a world of darkness, to be examples of faith and love in a world that often forgets these values. Have you ever stopped to think about what your life would be like if you decided to live by these messages every day? Hope in the darkness, constant spiritual preparation, communal prayer, personal conversion, resistance in the face of persecution, and trust in divine protection. Each of these messages can be applied in concrete and practical ways. Perhaps it's in the moment of silent prayer, upon waking, seeking God's light to begin the day. Or perhaps it's in your interactions with others, where you choose to act with more love, more patience, and more compassion, even when the temptation to be indifferent or selfish is great. Each of these messages is an opportunity for transformation, and it begins within you. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic and reflect on the power of these words in your life. How can you apply this hope in moments of despair? How can spiritual preparation be the key to facing the unexpected challenges that arise on our journey? What do these messages truly ask of us in terms of practical action? And how can we be more aware of God's presence in every moment of our day? The answer lies in our willingness to listen and act on Mary's call. She is not just giving us spiritual advice. She is offering us a path of light, a way of living that aligns us with the divine and prepares us for the times to come. It is a message of profound transformation, one that not only touches us but invites us to be instruments of this change, both within ourselves and in the world around us. Comment below. I'm on this journey too. If you feel that Maria's words touched your heart and are guiding you towards a real and profound transformation in your life. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for following this entire journey. I hope Maria's messages touched your heart and inspired some deep reflection. If this content resonated with you and you feel it could make a difference in your life, leave a comment saying, "This message was for me." I'd love to hear what impacted you most throughout the video. If you haven't left a like yet, please help me by clicking the like button. This is important, not only because it helps the video reach more people, but also because it shows us that we're truly connecting with you and providing something of value. If you felt this content helped you in any way, there's a video here that complements this topic. Click and stay with me there. I'm sure it will add even more to your journey. I'm glad you stuck around until the end, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you. See you soon.